Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at lesson 2-4, which is writing linear equations. So as usual, go ahead and pause the video as needed for you to take your notes or to go ahead and work on any of the problems you want to try on your own. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Um, All right, so here we have slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form of an equation of a line is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. This is probably one of the most common forms you are familiar with from Algebra 1, partly because it is one of the easier forms to type into the calculator when you want to graph something. And also you have one variable on its own. It is one of the most commonly used forms that we will see. But it is just one of three. And we've already gone over one of the others, which is standard form. And we do have another one we'll be going over today. But we're going to look at slope-intercept form first. So for example 1, we're going to go ahead and write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line given in the graph. So to find the slope, we're going to use the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So our two coordinate points from the graph are -1, 4 and 2, 3. So we're going to plug those values into our formula and get that our slope is -1/3. We're then going to use the slope and a point on the graph to find the y-intercept. So we're going to use y equals mx plus b, and we're going to substitute in -1 and 4 for x and y, because we do know this is a true point on the graph, so we can go ahead and substitute them in and solve for our missing variable, which is our y-intercept b. So we're going to get 4 equals 1/3 plus b. So we're going to subtract 1/3 from both sides to get 3 and 2/3. So our y-intercept is 3 and 2/3, or also 11/3. They get 11/3 because we take our mixed number and go ahead and transform it into a improper fraction, which is completely fine to go ahead and do. So they did 3 times 3, which is 9, plus 2 is 11, so 11/3. We then plug in or substitute our values into the slope-intercept equation. So we know m is -1/3 and b is 11/3. So we substitute those values in and get y equals -1/3 x plus 11/3. I go ahead and try this problem out. Write an equation in slope-intercept form from the line given. All right, so we're going to take a look here. First off, we're going to find our coordinate points. So the first one I see is 0, 3. And the second one I see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 1. What's so nice about this is that they actually give us our y-intercept. So I do already know our b value is +3. And I kind of also got that based on my answer choices. They all said +3. So we just need to go ahead and find out our slope. So I'm going to do 3 minus 1 over 0 minus 6. And we get +2 over -6. So when we simplify this, we get -1/3. So our answer is D, y equals -1/3 x plus 3. Moving on to example 2, we have write an equation of the line that passes through the 5, -2, and it has a slope of -3/5. So when we work on this one, we're actually going to use the third form of a linear equation, which is point slope form. And this is really useful when you're given a point as well as the slope, to go ahead and just write an equation of a line. And that is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we're substituting in our values that we do know. So we know y is -2, we know x is 5, and we know our slope is -3/5. So we're going to go ahead and simplify. And we get y plus 2 equals negative 3/5 x plus 3, because negative 3/5 times negative 5 is positive 3. So with this, we can actually go ahead and change this into slope-intercept form. So to do that, we're going to head subtract 2 from both sides and get y equals negative 3/5 x plus 1. Um, this is just more dependent on maybe what your question is actually asking the form to be in. If they are asking it to be an mx plus b form, you definitely want to go do this. If they're just asking for the equation of a line, you can probably leave it as point slope form. It just depends, again, the program and everything else you are using. All right, so go ahead and try this one. Right, what is an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that has a slope of 2/3 and passes through 3, negative 1? All right, so we're going to go ahead and use slope-intercept form. I'm going to do y minus negative 1 equals 2/3 times x minus negative 3. And so we get y plus 1 equals, we distribute the 2/3 and get 2/3 x. And we're going to get negative times negative is a plus. And 3 times 2/3 is 2. So now we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. And we get y equals 2/3 x plus 1. So our answer choice we're going to pick is A, 2/3 x plus 1. So there we go. Looking at example 3, they're now actually going to walk us through looking at a multiple choice problem, what they would suggest doing. So what is the equation of the line through to negative 3 and negative 3, 7? So we're going to have to do a couple steps. The fact that they gave us 2 coordinate points tells us we're already, the first thing I'm going to look for is my slope. So we're going to find the slope by using our slope formula and substituting in our 2 coordinate points. And when we do that, we get 10 over negative 5 or negative 2. So our slope is negative 2. And if this would eliminate choices B and C. Next, we're going to go ahead and use point slope form and plug in information that we do know. So I know my slope is negative 2, and I'm going to go ahead and use the coordinate point given to negative 3. And we're going to get y plus 3 equals negative 2x plus 4. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 3 from both sides to get y equals negative 2x plus 1, which was answer choice D. All right, so go ahead and try this one, which is an equation of the line that passes through 2, 5 and negative 1, 3. All right, so let's go ahead and find our slope. I'm going to go ahead and do 5 minus 3 over 2 minus negative 1. And we're going to get 2 over 3. So my slope is 2/3. With that, we cross out answer choices D and A. So now I'm going to go ahead and use point slope form. Y minus 5 equals 2/3 parentheses x minus 2. So we're going to go ahead and distribute the 2/3 to both of these in here. So we're going to get y minus 5 equals 2/3 x minus 4 over 3. So we're going to go ahead and change 5 into 15 over 3. That is the same thing as 5. So I'm going to head and add 15 over 3 to both sides. And when we do that, negative 4 plus 15 is positive 11. So we're going to get y equals 2/3 x plus 11 over 3, which gives us our answer choice of C. All right, so one of the things we do look at when we have our slope is we're looking at parallel and perpendicular lines. So parallel lines are two non-vertical lines, are parallel if only if they have the same slope. All vertical lines are parallel. So when they say vertical lines, they mean like if you have an equation like x equals 5, x equals 3, those are vertical lines, so they will be parallel to each other. Granted, their slope is undefined because you can't divide by zeros, what ends up happening. So for example, we have 2x plus 5 and 2x minus 1. They have the same slope, but they have different y-intercepts, so they will be parallel. Versus perpendicular lines are two non-vertical lines, are perpendicular if and only if the product of the slope is -1. Vertical lines and horizontal lines are perpendicular. You may have also heard this as they are negative reciprocals of each other. So for example, we have 3x plus 2 and -1/3 x minus 4. So the negative reciprocal, because remember, we can write 3 as 3 over 1. The reciprocal would be we flip our fraction and then make it negative. So that would be our negative reciprocal is -1/3. And the special thing about perpendicular lines is that they make right angles, which is sometimes very useful to know. So we're going to write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 3, -2, and is perpendicular to the line whose equation is -5x plus 1. So the slope of the line is given as -5. Since the slopes of perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals, the slope of the perpendicular line is 1/5. So now we can use point slope form in the ordered pair 3, -2. So we're going to use point slope form and substitute our values in. 3 for x, -2 for y, and 1/5 for slope. So distributing that, we get y plus 2 equals 1/5 x minus 3/5. So we're going to head and subtract 2 from both sides to get 1/5 x minus 13 over 5. So as remember, 2 is going to be the same thing as 10 over 5. Just as a reference for how they subtracted the two fractions. So the equation of our line is y equals 1/5 x minus 13/5. All right, for our last U try, go ahead and try this one. Write an equation that passes through the line, a line that passes through 3, 5, and it's perpendicular to the line whose equation is y equals 3x minus 2. All right, so we're going to go ahead and identify our slope. Since the slope is perpendicular, we're going to do the negative reciprocal, which is -1/3. So with knowing that, we can go ahead and use point slope form. So we're going to do y minus 5 equals -1/3. And with this, actually, we can cross out C and D because they have the wrong slope. And with this, we can also cross out A, but I'm going to check my work to make sure that everything is right. I'm going to do x minus 3. And so I get y minus 5, of course, equals -1/3 x plus 1, because -1/3 times -3 is +1. So we're going to go ahead and add 5 to both sides. And we get y equals negative 1/3 x. And 1 plus 5 is 6. So yes, it does check out that B is our answer. That is the end of the notes. And so I will see you again when we go over lesson 2-5. I'll see you next time. Bye.